Hi guys, and a very good morning from Mexico. So this morning I've docked on Cunard's Queen Elizabeth here in Cabo San Lucas. Now before I talk to you about the plan for today, let me take you upstairs and show you the view because I'm currently on the inside of the ship, so I don't have a window and I have no idea what we're dealing with today. So look, let's head up, have a look round, and then I'll come back down here and tell you all about what we're getting up to today. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the top deck of Cunard's Queen Elizabeth right here in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. Now, if that heat didn't just hit you when I opened that door, let me tell you, it was hot, hot, hot out here, which explains exactly why the top decks are so quiet. There is almost nobody out here. Now, out this side of the ship, you can see some of the really famous resorts and famous beaches that Cabo San Lucas is so well known for. If you watched my video when I was here on my last cruise on board Carnival Panorama, you'll remember that I took you over to some of those beaches and we relaxed there for the day. Now, if you don't want to go over there for the beach, then you may want to check out the other side of the ship, which is the world famous rock formations. Over here you've got some of the most private beaches on offer, only accessible by boat. Now on this side of the rock formations you could go to the beautiful Lovers Beach where the waters are nice and calm, or you could head over to the other side to, you guessed it, Divorce Beach, where the waters are certainly nowhere near as calm. If you don't want to head off the ship today, however, you could relax up here. Look at how quiet this is. Or you could head up here. Now, while we're up here before we get off the ship today, guys, I did want to show you one area. Now, this is the outdoor sports pavilion on board Queen Elizabeth, and right now, I'm on a full bowls pitch. Over there is a croquet field, and over there is paddle tennis. Now, this is a whole area, and it's three sports that I've never ever seen on a cruise ship before. So look, before we head back down to the cabin to talk about today, let me show you each of these facilities one at a time because I am really, really impressed and can't wait for our next 3 sea days after today to hopefully come and give each one of these a shot. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed having a quick look round up on those top decks. It looks absolutely beautiful here today, and the conditions also just look so good for a day off the ship. Now, on that note, it's going to be hot out there, so the captain came on the tannoy while we were out to say that it's currently 30 degrees and that it's due to get up to about 35 degrees centigrade this afternoon. So yeah, the Scottish guy in me is definitely beginning to die again because that is hot, hot, hot for us. And I can probably cope until the late 20s, and then every degree warmer, it just gets pretty difficult for me. So yeah, watch this space on how long I can survive ashore. Now, on that note, today we are actually docked all day. So last week on Carnival Panorama, I was only here for between the hours of 9 and about 1 PM, but today we're docked from about 7 AM and we leave at 4:30, which is good. Now, it's about 9:30 at the moment. I've sort of left the rest of the crowds to it because they obviously give priority to anyone on a shore excursion, which I'm not, and then there's loads of people that haven't been here before that will be queuing to get off the ship really early. So I'm hoping that if I go down about 10 AM, I should be straight off the ship and it shouldn't be a problem. Now we'll come back to tenders in a little second, but I wanted to just walk you through some of the paperwork that you receive into your cabin on a Cunard cruise, because some of this is really, really useful. Now, first up is the daily programme, and this is what I plug in basically every video. I think you guys will think I make the daily programme. I'm so in love with it. But the things that are really important on here is that you've got information like the time, so that you can make sure that your clock or your watch is reflecting what ship time actually is. So we're GMT -7 at the moment. Really important to keep an eye on that, because if that changes and you don't notice on other signage, you might be an hour late back for your ship. So just always be really careful. You've then got the sunrise and the sunset. So we're here at the end of August, and sunrise is at 5:59 AM, sunset is at 6:40 PM. So the reason why that's important, guys, is that if you've got a late port call, I would always suggest coming back to the ship while it's still daylight before the sun goes down. So yeah, late August, we're getting more or less a full day of sunlight here. Now, other than that, the other important point is the weather. So if you don't hear the captain's announcement in the morning, you can see here that the weather today is to be 34 centigrade or 93.2 Fahrenheit, and it's to be partly sunny and hot, which, yeah, I'm excited about, but I think it might be a little bit too hot. Now, when you open up the daily schedule today, we have got, I spoke to you about this in my last vlog, which I can't remember, it would have been either Embarkation Day or the Sea Day one. I told you about this travel advisory that they put in it. Now, they've basically just said, look, in the past there's been issues here, please avoid carrying expensive items or anything that might identify you as a tourist, which we might struggle with that today, guys, because I've got you guys as a camera on a stick, but hey. Then you've got numbers on here for the port agency, the British and US embassies, the Australian consulate, and then also Queen Elizabeth, the cruise ship, via satellite. So yeah, that's just always really useful to have a look through your daily programme, even when you are docking. Now, other bits of paperwork, this one is not as important, so this will be really quick. It's like a shopping guide. So if you like to shop, then the cruise line will give you a guide on how to do that. And the final point from me today, before we head out, is tendering. Now, I showed you this leaflet back when we embarked the ship in Los Angeles, but they've delivered it again last night. Now, this leaflet basically confirms all the information you need to know about the tendering process. Now, anyone that hasn't cruised before, tendering means that for a number of reasons today, this cruise ship isn't able to get in and dock, aka drop the gangway, and then we can all just walk ashore. That means that we are anchored slightly further out from the bay, and we'll be using little boats to go into the shore and back today. Now, last week on Carnival Panorama, we used a tendering company who came out and brought us ashore. I believe today we're actually using Queen Elizabeth's tenders, which I haven't seen them yet, but that might be lifeboats, which I'm very intrigued to see because I haven't been on a lifeboat tender before. But there's loads of information on here about how to get on, how to get off, what to do while you're on it. It's fairly self-explanatory. You just move from this big cruise ship into a small boat, and that then takes you ashore. I really like it places like this because you get the luxury of a little mini boat trip without paying for it, so it's quite cool. Now, I know that a few of you guys follow along and are really keen to hear about the mobility point of a cruise ship, and it is worth noting that on here there's a mobility assessment and also some information for wheelchair and mobility scooter users. Now, Cunard use a term independent mobility, and that's really, really important because while there's crew there to support people getting on and off of a tender, they can't carry people and they can't kind of fully lift people onto and off of the tenders, unfortunately. So for that reason, if you do require that, then I'm not sure if you would be able to go ashore in a port like Cabo San Lucas. Now, if you're in a wheelchair, then the same applies where it says if you use a wheelchair or a mobility scooter, you'll be permitted to board the tender, providing you have enough independent mobility. So yeah, just always make sure that if you're planning an independent day out, just make sure that you're comfortable with getting yourself on and off of the tender. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to record it, but I'll try and show you the tender if I can get my camera out as we're boarding. But for obvious reasons, they might ask me to put that away. So if I can show you, I will. Bear with me. Now, anyway, that is all of the paperwork that I've got for today, which means it's time to get off the ship. So yeah, enough from me here in this little inside cabin. Let's head off and explore Cabo. To get off the ship today, we have to go down to deck number 2 to the Queen's room. Now my cabin was at the back of the ship and the Queen's room was at the front of the ship, so it gives us quite a good opportunity to check out some of the interiors of Queen Elizabeth as we walk along. Look at how beautiful the inside of this cruise ship is. I would go as far as to say it feels almost regal on here. I thought it was absolutely immaculate. I never thought, as a 32-year-old solo cruiser, that I would fit into this environment, but I absolutely loved it. It was such a beautiful ship, and hopefully, over my future videos, I can convince you of the same. Now, this is the Queen's room. You'll remember this when we had afternoon tea in here in my last video. It's pretty quiet. There's not too many people waiting, which means that, yeah, quite a few people obviously got up before me to head ashore. Now that was proven by the fact that I was tender ticket number 25. Anyway, heading down to the tender platform, these were the safety instructions. If you're concerned in any way, please feel free to pause the video now and have a read of them. Otherwise, let's get on the tender and head ashore. You can see that we are using one of Queen Elizabeth's lifeboats to head ashore today, and that's accessed by a step and a ramp, and then we're on board. Which means the only thing for us to do now is to turn on the engines and head over to the shoreline. The transfer over to the marina takes about 5 minutes. It's really not a long time, and keep your eyes peeled because you should be able to see quite a lot of wildlife. I love pelicans, so this transfer was great for me. Anyway, from that point we were then ashore. Let me show you the lifeboat one more time, and you may be getting deja vu from my last video on Carnival Panorama, because this is exactly where I got dropped off on that ship as well. Anyway, if you haven't seen that video, then let me show you. Once you get off your cruise ship tender boat, you'll find yourself in Cabo San Lucas Marina. This marina, all around the outside, is surrounded by bars, restaurants, clubs, other types of nightlife, and plenty of shops to keep you busy all during the day. Now, the main attraction to this marina is the amount of boats. There are so many. It's pretty clear that there's a lot of marine life here when you look at how many fishing boats are in this marina. If you do want to go a fishing trip or you want to go a sightseeing trip, you can book them really, really easily by various vendors that are dotted all around the perimeter of the marina, so you don't have to book with your cruise line direct. Now, if you'd rather shop until you drop in Cabo, then you would want to head to here, which is Luxury Avenue, a huge premium designer brand shopping mall that's located within the marina area. So you only have to walk about 10 or 15 minutes from where you get off the cruise ship tender to reach the shopping mall. Now, I personally, due to the fact I'm doing quite a lot of cruising this year, I have no room in my luggage, so I did not frequent Luxury Avenue. I instead chose to frequent this beach club for a couple of hours where I could just chill out. Now, why did I choose a beach club, I hear you ask? That is because A, it's a little bit quieter than the standard beach area, and B, look at that ship. This place gives you some of the best views of your cruise ship, and look at how nice and quiet it was. It was great. You could come in, you could get a beer, you could have lunch. Yes, fine, you had to pay for it, but it was lovely. After that, I headed down and wandered along the beach, further along to where the resorts were that I showed you when we were back on the ship. I do have to say, Queen Elizabeth looks absolutely beautiful against these waters. Wait until you see the ship in a few videos time against the blue waters of the Caribbean, because she looks even better. You might be thinking, That's great. Because we went to a beach club, there wasn't any beach sales going on where they were trying to sell them everything. However, here they are here, getting ready to start the day. I said before, and I'll say it again, I've never seen the degree of beach selling that I experienced in Cabo. It was mad. Whatever you wanted to buy, you could buy it here, whether that be t-shirts, hats, sunglasses, henna tattoos, anything and everything was here. There were even people walking about with food and drinks balanced on their head that you just pulled them over. Now, one cool thing that I did see on this beach was a hang glider. Someone essentially parasailing through the sky. Oh wait, that's a toy. Oh wait, it's available for sale. Of course it is. Anyway, enough of that before I tempt someone on watching this video to go and buy something. Let's get back to the beach. Now, I took a walk from this really calm watered section a little bit further along to where the waves got a little bit more intense, and you can see the water coming right onto the beach. Let me tell you more. Okay, so where I am now, I've spent a few hours chilling out along at Medano Beach, and I have now wandered further along, essentially in the opposite direction from the port. So you can see the ship just behind me at the moment. Now, it's really important to note that when you come to these beaches, it's so important that you check what flag's flying. Now, generally speaking, if the flag's blue, you are pretty safe to go in. It will usually have lifeguards. However, along here, it's considered not safe to swim. You're still within eyesight of the ship, but every single flag is red. So generally, if you see a red flag on a Mexican beach, don't even think about going in that water, because the tides here are really, really strong and the currents are really, really strong. So I'll flip the camera and show you some of the waves that are rolling in right now. But it's so important that you check out what flag's flying by the beach. Anyway, for me, I am going to head back now to get back onto the ship, and I'll see all of you when we get on. You get the picture. Not the safest part of the beach to be walking along. Anyway, after one final look at Queen Elizabeth basking in those blue waters, it was time for me to head all the way back to the ship. Now, to get back from the beach, I had to do this loop all the way around the marina to then finish back at the dock where I would take the tender boat back out to the cruise ship. Now, one bit of advice that I would give you if you are visiting here, the sun is so unforgiving. It is so intense. It just comes down all day and there's very little shade. You can even see here, there's not a single cloud in the sky. So make sure you bring a hat, bring sunscreen and get out to enjoy your day. Anyway, here we are going down the dock and onto the tender boat. Loads of people ask me about tender boats. Do you get seasick? Do you feel it more than when you're on the cruise ship? How do you feel when you're on a tender? To be honest, I would be lying to you if I said that you didn't feel it. Of course you do. You're on this tiny little boat, which 9 times out of 10 is primarily servicing as a lifeboat. So it's not got big stabilisers that a cruise ship would have. What I would say is that the thing that gets me more on a tender in these conditions is the heat. It's really, really warm on there. So just make sure you bring plenty of water and actually try and enjoy your tender boat ride, because it's so unusual and so unique to get such a beautiful up-close view of your cruise ship when you visit somewhere like this. Anyway, enough from me right now. This is some of the scenery that I could see immediately after getting on board. I'll talk to you properly up on the promenade deck. Okay guys, I am now back on the ship and I've taken up residence on the promenade deck, which is down on deck 3 of the ship. Now, we're due to sail out of here probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes. They're in the process right now of bringing the final tender boat back onto our ship, and then we'll be pushing off. So yeah, I can't wait to see sail away from here. I'll show you everything that I can see and then we'll go back to the cabin and talk through the plan for tonight.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running.
Okay guys, port number 1 of this cruise, tick, done. So yeah, today was good. I've really had a great day today, but what I would say is that having been in Cabo last week and then again this week, I kind of feel all caboed out, which is, yeah, it's funny because you go to some ports, like I've been to Madeira now multiple times and I still want more. I've been to Naples multiple times, I still want more, but somewhere like Cabo San Lucas, I kind of feel as though now I've seen it. Like, yeah, fine, I could take a boat out and look at all the different beaches and I could take a water taxi to go and snorkel and look at the wildlife, but I kind of feel as though Cabo is now ticked, which is good. It's good, and cruising to me is all about doing exactly that and ticking off all these places, and if you want to go back to some of them, fine, and if not, fine. My biggest criticism of today, and it was exactly the same last week, I feel as though every single person from the minute you get off the ship wants you to go on a boat tour, wants you to go snorkeling, wants you to be in a restaurant, wants you to be in a bar, wants you to come into the shop, wants you to buy something that they're trying to sell on the street. And my big bit of advice if you are coming to Cabo is just be prepared to all day say no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, because it is relentless and it's constant. So anyway, I'm now back in the luxury of Queen Elizabeth where they don't try and constantly upsell you. So yeah, all is good. Now, speaking of the plan for tonight, I wanted to look at 2 things with you. Now, first up was this here. Now, I didn't realise this before coming on Cunard, but room service on here is totally included in your fare, which is great news. So yeah, tonight, I don't know what's caused it, but tonight I'm having like, I don't know, would homesick be the right word? I don't know, I'm having a little downturn tonight, which what I've decided to do is just be really introverted, chill out and have dinner in my cabin tonight. So I will head back out to the show, but I think, yeah, when I got back on board, I had a little bit of a wobble where, yeah, I just kind of realised how long it's been since I was at home. I think so. Yeah, I'm going to just maybe feel sorry for myself for one dinner and, yeah, have it in my cabin and then recharge my social batteries to head back out. So I will show you my food when it arrives, but the menu is pretty big, which is good. Now, I've opted for a chicken Caesar salad followed by a Thai green chicken and coconut curry. And then I've also asked for a side of French fries. So yeah, let's see what that all looks like when it arrives. But big win that all of Cunard's room service is included. Now I am going to do a whole video on that to show you what all the dishes look like when they come on room service. I guess that is the luxury or the benefit of a 14-night cruise. I can actually look at ordering every single item off the menu. So stay tuned on YouTube for that one. Now, the other thing that I wanted to cover off with you was back on the daily programme. to look at the plan for tonight. Now, I haven't actually had a good look through this yet, but yeah, what I've circled from last night was just the 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. shows. So I'm going to head probably to the 8 p.m. show, which tonight is a variety show in tribute to James Bond, which actually should be quite good. Unfortunately, as you know, I can't record the shows or take photos of the shows, so I'll come on and just wrap up quickly at the end of the night with how that is. Other than that, I think I'll probably just go and see a bit of live music in a few venues. So there is at 9 o'clock, there's some music in the pub. Might check in and see that. There's also a Cunard beer, which I didn't know this, but Cunard have their own beer on here. So I'm going to go and see. I should be able to get that in the pub. So yeah, maybe we'll go and do that. And then I'll probably head up and check out The Pianist up in the Commodore Club, which is it's a beautiful venue right up at the top of the ship on deck 10. So I'll take you to that. Now, if you weren't doing that, you could also go to Latin music in the Yacht Club, which is like the nightclub venue. There's late music in the pub, which doesn't start until 10:45. There's then the Yacht Club becomes a club at 11:30 p.m. There's Music Madness in the Garden Lounge, so there's more music there. Generally speaking, if there's a venue on this ship, it's playing music all night, which is really good. I really, really like that. Now, anyway, that's it from me. Now, I'll come back at the end of this video and talk to you about how the show has gone and how my night's been. But, yeah, let's just wait and see what room service looks like, and I'll catch up with you shortly. Here we go, time to explore the world of Cunard's dinner room service. Now, to start, I had a chicken Caesar salad, which was actually one of the freshest salads that I've ever had delivered to my room, followed by the Thai green curry, followed by, I'll show you in a sec, but a plate of French fries, typical me. Now, quite often on ships, I find that room service is dry, not too much flavour, and I really miss the dining room. However, that wasn't the case on Queen Elizabeth. You're probably asking, hang on, he hasn't shown us dessert. Well, I think you probably know where I'm going. That's up to the Lido buffet and up to my favourite machine, which is the free soft serve machine. This was probably a disaster for my diet the whole cruise. Afterwards, it was into the theatre, which I couldn't record, and then down to try a beer. If you'd like some more information on the beer, feel free to pause now. You can see the prices are actually pretty decent, and I chose to have that and stay in the pub. The pub on board is one of my favourite venues if you just want a really relaxed, chilled out night. It's worth adding the Cunard dress code doesn't apply in the pub, so this is casual all the time. So don't worry if you don't want to get dressed up on formal night, there's still a venue that you can come and enjoy. And just like that, guys, it's the end of another night here on Queen Elizabeth. Now, slight change of events tonight, and after I went to the pub, I nipped upstairs and a group of us ended up doing like West End Broadway musical trivia, and we won. So we got 20 out of 20, which is the first time that I've ever won anything at a cruise ship trivia, which is ideal. Now, anyway, I am now coming to you from the Queen's room, which you may recognise this, you may not, but this is where the afternoon tea takes place. It's where like all the kind of daytime entertainment takes place. It's that very grand ballroom setting that you find on this ship. It's very nice, and the nicest thing about it is that it dies a very early death. So it's currently midnight, and to be honest, there's not another soul still awake on this ship. So I find it at the moment that everyone generally begins to turn in sort of no later than 11 p.m. I think it's probably because it's a later cruise as well, so people are turning in that little bit earlier. But my next couple of days, I have got 3 days at sea now, and then we dock in Costa Rica. So that's going to be another new port and another new city for me, which I'm so excited about. A new country, actually. Now, when I get there, I'm going to be doing an excursion, which I don't normally do, so make sure you come back, and yeah, I'll take you out with me and show you why this one is worth doing, essentially. I hope, anyway, it better be worth doing. But hey, look, hopefully you've enjoyed today. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing Cabo Round 2 following Carnival, can hardly speak, Panorama last week. As I say, it would be great if you would come back in my next episode, which will cover Costa Rica. If you'd like to stay in the loop, then just jump down below and you can click subscribe. And while you're there, if you could give the video a thumbs up, that would be amazing. But look, for now, from here in the Queen's Room on board Cunard's Queen Elizabeth, a very good night, and I will see all of you after what should hopefully be 3 very relaxing days at sea this end. So, good night for now. See you guys.